Roll up the final show. We'll make our final goodbye to the world, huh? Let's have let's have the big long goodbye. We've got from 12:20 Eastern to 5:59, and 4:59. And I know if Obama breaks in and I need extra time, I know I'll get extra time. I know I will. Because you know what? That works. There's been no problem in that department. Somebody came to me last year. You bet. I said, oh, you better worry about and try not to in any way get involved with. I said, what? You know, a whole thing. Don't get involved with it. It's bad. I said, I don't think it's that bad. Oh, it's bad. Stay away from it, Ed. Run away. Run. I said, look, you know what? I've been around long enough to know what I'm doing. Thanks for the warning. Okay, and it was nothing but trouble. It was nothing but negative, and it became a whole horrible, miserable experience created by somebody out of thin air. Not me. I'm over here doing the thing. I'm listening to all this stuff, tuning it out, doing the thing. Didn't matter. They persisted over and over and over and more. I got the emails. I got the lost sleep. I got the wrinkles, right? I got the wrinkles coming in now, baby. The crow's feet. I mean, I'm missing a toenail. I mean, it's I don't know where I put it. I mean, it's just after a while. You say, well, what are you doing? I say, well, I'm dedicated or stupid. Dedicated or stupid.
Everybody's running to the doctor.
It's one of my best experiences in the last several years. Me and this gal on the phone. Oh, man, a nice chat. Good guest. Got a new. You know what? I tell you what. Ed Till falls in love with an artist every 6 months, right? I'm like Sean Penn with Madonna, right? That's what happened with Madonna and Sean Penn. He saw her as an artist of the time. He was drawn to her. They couldn't stand each other. They couldn't get along at all. But you know, I've always thought when I saw the Madonna thing not work out, I said to myself, "This is me now talking to me." I said, "Ed Till, you better have the magical connection before you have any kind of relationship." Anyway, we'll talk about love later. We could talk about love later. I don't know. Love shouldn't lead off the show, should it? So why are we in the shape that we're in? 4 o'clock in the morning, Elon Musk. Do you know who that is? You think that's perfume? I don't know. What am I doing dropping that name? I used to feel, well, you know what? It's helping people know whatever you're telling them. Who wouldn't want to know the one private guy who actually has rockets going up? Remember the guy in the Texas who said he was going to go for a ride? All these clowns have ridden on rockets. It's the first guy that built a rocket. I mean, he built one and it went up last night. How do I know that? Because I saw the thing at 4 o'clock in the morning. I was doing my, all right, so we'll get this all linear for you. Starcom Radio Network, Ed Till Show, usually live 9 to 5, because this morning I was out for the count. I fell asleep on the floor of the studio. Well, all right, that happens a lot, but usually it doesn't mean...
My bad.
Yeah. So the rocket was supposed to go up at 1 a.m., which it was a surprise to me because I know rocket people that love rockets. They didn't mention a thing, but I'm like, all right, you know what? I got this. They don't know about it because it's not NASA. Like, they know everything about the Air Force Base. And I'm like, this is not about the Air Force Base. It kind of is. They paid rent to the Air Force Base. The Air Force Base made some money on Cape Canaveral for a change. Got paid. Yo. Got to get paid, yo. But this dude brought in his own private rocket. And I'm like, well, that's cool. That now you're doing something. Say, well, what did you do? Well, you know, I built my own private rocket and launched it. Aha! What'd you do? Well, I picked up some eggs. They were on sale. Ed Till Show. All right, so how are we doing over there? Ceasefire is still holding. I got that. So anyway, this rocket is a private rocket. If you do know... if you do know this guy Musk, he's the guy building the Tesla car. He's like a crazy mad scientist engineer, but on Wall Street, they love this guy. His cars are electric, and now he had this, it's called SpaceX, right? So right away, he's like some kind of Generation X, millennial, little young badass. He's got his brushed up haircut. I mean, he could be 35 or 40, but whatever. A lot of people have come on the planet in the last 3 or 4 decades. They haven't done anything with anything. Nothing. They've done nothing with their time. Nothing. They put nothing into the society. They just take, and run around, take that, and it's nothing. It's all busy work. And you say, well, what are you doing? And then the world is falling apart. Well, it wasn't my job to do anything. Yeah, it was, you goddamn moron. Exactly. It was your job to do something. You're a citizen. What do you think you are? Walk around and consume. This is what I want. This is what I want. This is what I'm going to buy. This is what I'm going to do with my money. Ugh. So anyway, this is what happens to a generation. They wind up doing nothing, and then a guy like this comes along and says, whoa. So you mean millions of you could have been doing something like this? One guy? One young oh no, what about Mark Zuckerberg? All right, stop. That's the point. We're going down the toilet. This kid is hitting the flush handle for you because it's not his fault you want to go down the toilet. You'll look for any excuse to not be attached to anything that means anything bigger than you. That's the generation. That's it. That's the failure. That's the breakdown, right? It's different because all you got to do is add 15 years, anybody's age. They know better. I'm not saying they behaved any better. They know better. So in the end, if people know better, a lot more than one is going to build a car and then turn around and build a rocket. I watched this thing go up last night. My rocket friends who didn't say anything to me about it at all, I don't know if they're used to this. I'm not. We got a very good look at the trajectory of the rocket. It was low for a while. It was a night sky. By the way, I think I mentioned to you the window is 4:11 a.m. That must be when the beginning of something happens at 4:11. That was the end of the window to fire the rocket. 1 o'clock, they're not doing it. So you're like, oh, I guess they're not doing it. Well, they come 3 o'clock in the morning. This reporter got a jacket on. He looks like he just got up. His eyelids are, poked open there with a toothpick, just stuck to. Ugh, it was rough. They go right in on him. HD, channel 13. The guy goes, "We may still launch." I said, I'm pacing the floor over here. I'm going to be hanging myself with a microphone cable any moment, And this guy's like, we may launch. I'm like, all right. I guess there is hope. I guess I won't hang myself with a microphone cord. Make a cup of coffee, put on some s'mores or whatever these kids do, and whatever. Sit around and have a launch party. So now they won't tell you the exact time, and it becomes like 3:30 in the morning. And I'm like, well, 4:11 is your window. Keep telling us. Maybe it's not happening after we're waiting all this time. Back on TV, live. This guy looks like he can't even see when the thing goes up. I felt for the guy. He's probably just got home, got in bed, and they're like, hey, they might launch. Ah, Jesus. He's got makeup all over his shirt. So now comes the big moment. Now the clock is counting down. And all they're doing, I guess they didn't have what the old correspondents used to have. Dan Rather would stand there and say, we're down to T-2. They don't have any of this. The guy just goes, they're going at exactly 4 o'clock. That's the way he said it. Wow, he didn't even say like 400 hours, nothing. So you could say, well, this is just a bunch of guys launching a rocket. They're like, we're going at 4. And you go, wow, in the old days, they used to count backwards. No countdown? No thing in the Nah, come on, man. It's a private rocket. These guys are light years, no pun intended, light years ahead of that. That was the old way of doing things. Now we just get the... And I know, because of that low trajectory that I mentioned to you, but I know I got a really good look at this thing. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. It flattened out at one point. I'm like, oh, my God, this thing's not going to come back down and hit us now, is it? Because it did not go straight up at all. They never go straight up. They always they have to catch some slot that they want them in, I believe. Because he's got a rendezvous. He's got a precise destination. It's amazing. Privately, though. Totally. So now, who's at the launch party? It's 3:58, and I'm walking out there in my sneakers and my sleeping cap and my bell book and candle. There's just one other couple from across the road. The lights are on in their house, and I swear to you, the two of them staggered out there. As soon as the thing was visible, they didn't even wait, to see if there was a completion. They saw the thing. They turned around. They went back on that. They turned off their lights and went into bed. The thing was still in complete view. I said, man, that is the definition of the word blasé. AC, very AC/DC. Back in black. Very back in black AC/DC. Well, so as I said, it's we all try to do, I think, in the old days, it's something that contributes. But if you're a casualty of that effort, I don't find any virtue in that, personally. That doesn't make me feel any better, The good old college I only care about. I just care about where it's at. Winners, losers, where it's at. That's it. Snapshot. I can figure out what's in the picture. No offense. Just get out of the way. Just taking my picture. I can see what's going on. Talking about exactly what, not wishing, Pink Floyd, wishing you were here, wish. Wishes. A lot of wishes in society. Best wishes when you're a kid. They put on every card. My best wishes. Boy, I guess that saves you from thinking about what those wishes would be. You're just saying if there is anything good, I'm behind it. I'm not going to help you find it. I'm not going to go walking around with you. These are best wishes. Well, how do I know what wishes you're giving me? Well, why don't you figure out which ones you need, and then just assume those are the ones. Just clap your hands. Just clap. So you don't have to know anything. Well, it's where it's at, man. You say, well, what brought this on? Well, I'm the third case of Ebola. You don't know about the Ebola virus? It's been on television for the last 18 hours when I'm not watching space launches. I'm watching Donald Trump say the guy shouldn't come and get medicated. Trump says, well, he's got a point, I guess. Trump says, why can't you bring this stuff over there where he is? Why wouldn't you move you're going to need one of these facilities instead of plucking him out? That's kind of obnoxious in front of all the African natives. Who talks about, by the way, on this show, African natives more every day I bring up to you. Why is a baby's life in Darfur so cheap? And now it's the same thing with Ebola. At least Trump is, he's consistent. He's telling you that it's maybe for the wrong reasons. Maybe he doesn't know the right reason, but he accidentally is correct. Why don't you bring the whole apparatus down to the countries that have it? Fly it over there. Stop it. I don't know if we can. You can do whatever you want. Please. Mr. Obama could be on the phone. He's never doing anything with his office, right? Did you see that he can't change immigration now? He got caught by his own staff. His own staff put out a thing last night, Wolf had it, that he's going to now have to go through the White House General Counsel. That means his own people are onto this now. So anyway, what are you going to do, right? This is the way it is. It is what it is. That's what they say. But I don't believe that. See, I was born in the John Kennedy era. The belief was anything is possible. You can't tell us what's not possible. What are you, crazy? We're the ones that determine what's possible and what's not. We're the ones that push the edge. We'll tell you what we found out. Christopher Columbus, whatever you're doing. You're the only one doing it? Good. Is it difficult to do? Good. Does it bust your ass in half every day till you can't stand up? Good. Well, they don't. I don't want anything to do with that. Every survey that comes out, can I sit down? Can I you want to be a veal. I understand. You want to sit there and just work with a computer, and why would you bother doing anything? It's horrible. But that's, that's unfortunately, that is what we're doing. These are the choices. You live every day, there's no question in this era, maybe in the 1800s, just getting a shave was good enough for the afternoon. That's all that was, imaginable with your day. We live in an era when now anybody, anywhere, anytime can be the hero of the moment, change everything for the good of other people. Not for their own notoriety, not for their own look at me. It's a thing geared toward other people. The whole activity is for other people. Well, anyway, this is a terrific thing. Last night when this rocket goes off, I'm like, look at this. It's blasé. This is it's laid back, man. No clock. Nobody flipping out. 3, 2, 1. They used to say ignition. Oh, I used to hate that when I was a kid because it was a word you're not familiar with it when you were a kid. And like, that doesn't follow 3, 2, 1 ignition. 3, 2, 1 go. 3, 2, 1 liftoff. I used to like that one. Well, yeah, liftoff is a good sentence. Very good liftoff. So anyway, the rocket is a big success, I think. My take on it. My reporting tells me, I was there, I watched. It had a very, I think he put that low trajectory in there for the CEO face principle that was enunciated on the show yesterday. You heard that? Yeah, there's a book out, studied this. If people see something favorably, an Instagram, a picture, a moment, no depth, no understanding, but if they see some image, it's kind of when they would show you a picture from 9/11 and your heart would break, the building is busted in half, the flag and all. So it turns out that an image is much more important. Yes, ma'am. Girls, can you? Thank you, ladies. Here they are.
Needs another hug, doesn't
Oh, boy, who doesn't? How about over here? How about for the head of the table? This hasn't been a hug at this end of the... You know how I get my hugs? I'm like Kevin O'Leary. I'm so rich that my money just hugs me back. I'm hugging George Washington, Benjamin Franklin,
Ed Till.
Jefferson, all these...
He's driving you crazy. Shut up. So pick up the freaking phone. It's the Ed Till Show.
Ed Till.
It's the Ed Till Show. Ed Till Show.
Ed Till Show.
Ed Till. 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 Ed Till.
Ed Till.
He's Ed Till. The Ed Till Show.
Yeah. Nice. That was a trifecta. Woof. So I don't have to say a word about anything. Well, Starcom part was not in there. Yeah, you got to get some Starcom in that whole... Then I'm done. Then I don't have to say anything. All I have to do is get right to it and get the hell out of here because this is turning into a dangerous job. It's turning into... the whole thing is...
Using a issued firearm or...
Well, as I said, right now, and the investigation is just now getting started, we believe that the assailant was an Afghan soldier. But I mean, and the reason I'm caveating it by saying we believe because, again, this investigation just got started. The incident just occurred. But I've seen no indications, we have no indications that he wasn't anything other than a member of the Afghan National Security Forces.
Circumstances under which it happened, was there some sort of a large gathering? Was it an instructional situation, or was it a training?
As I understand it, it was a routine visit to the National Defense to the university, which is akin to their sort of officers' academy. But I would point you to ISAF for the exact details. I don't know. It was a routine site visit, is how I understand it. But again, the circumstances surrounding how it.
Was it by the general?
By the general and other coalition staff members. And as I said at the outset, and maybe I didn't make this clear enough, I mean, not all of the casualties are American. So that there were other coalition members that fell victim to this shooting. So as I understand it, it was a coalition, an ISAF site visit to the university. I really don't have any more details than that about how long they'd been there, what were they looking at. I just don't know. Yeah, Jim.
Thank you, Admiral Kirby. I'm told that this was a vetted soldier who'd gone through what is a very serious vetting process for Afghan troops, particularly at a facility like this. Does this, in your view, identify weaknesses in the vetting process? And I also wonder, this bigger picture, we're months away from the U.S. handing over security responsibility for Afghanistan to Afghan forces like these. Does this undermine your confidence in their ability to take over that role?
Great questions, Jim. First, too soon to tell on what this means for the vetting process. Again, we believe this individual was a member of the Afghan National Security Forces. We need to let the investigation proceed to figure out exactly who this was before we can leap to any conclusions about the vetting process. On your second question, I would say, General Dunford mentioned this in his discussion with the Secretary today. The Afghan National Security Forces continue to perform at a very strong level of competence and confidence and warfare capability. They have had a good year, securing not one but two national elections, and stopping or minimizing the impact of countless numbers of attacks throughout the country, even in Kabul. So this is a security force that we believe grows stronger by the week, and they are already in the lead in combat missions throughout the country. They'll be completely in the lead for military operations by the end of the year. We see no change in that, no degradation of that progress.
To be fair, this is not the first time you've had green on blue attacks like this one. I just wonder if this undermines the trust that coalition forces, particularly U.S. forces, have in their Afghan colleagues in the months remaining before they leave the country.
I've seen no indication that there's a degradation of trust between coalition members and their Afghan counterparts. And I would encourage you to, certainly speak to folks that are over there in Afghanistan. I'm not. I understand I'm here in the Pentagon, but every indication that I've seen is that the partnering and the cooperation just, it gets better and better every week. And I think, again, that's borne out in the performance that we've seen out of Afghan National Security Forces.
Admiral, after a spate of these green-on-blue insider attacks several years ago in Afghanistan, the U.S. military instituted several security precautions, several additional security conditions. Yeah. Do you know if any of those precautions were in place during this meeting, or was it considered so safe that they didn't feel the necessity to undertake those additional security procedures?
Well, you're right, Jim. ISAF did institute some measures to help mitigate the threat, not eliminate, but help mitigate it. As I understand it, some of those measures were in effect, but I would point you to ISAF for further details on that. And again, all this is going to be looked at in the investigation.
Well, you said not eliminate. Why can't you eliminate that threat?
I think it's. I think we've been very honest that the insider threat is probably it's a pernicious threat, and it's difficult to always ascertain. To come to grips with the scope of it anywhere you are, particularly in a place like Afghanistan. And Afghanistan is still a war zone.
So it happens right here. Boy, it's spot on with what we're saying. This is exactly what we're talking about. So now it does go all the way to the White House. This is a guy who, like we were saying earlier, he deals in the facts. He's a military guy. Some political clown has been down the hall messing with his job. Guess what's undefended right now? The United States. Did you hear him? He goes, I'm being very honest with you about not eliminating the threat. You go, well, why don't you eliminate the threat? This is an open dialogue in America. An American military man submitting to the media saying, I can't even answer that. I'm here at the Pentagon. Go ask somebody. Do you hear? Do you understand what you've done? You don't care. I know you don't care. I know because you care more about yourself than any consequence. You don't care. Consequences are more important than what you feel. Consequences always trump feelings. Feelings are to be minimized and controlled. They are not to lead. You don't lead important behavior on these.
Killed by American troops or Afghan troops?
It's just amazing. Even in the White House, he dicks around, pardon my expression, like his generation does. That's what his generation does. They dick around with stuff. And what happens when you wake up? Somebody's dead. Always. Always. You lazy about crime, they murder a few more. Then you get them out. Then you get the people out there to participate. It needs to be sensational. Jodi Arias will go on her defense, I saw, and everybody's in on that because that's brutal and sexual. But when it comes to ordinary life and just doing what's correct, forget it. You see, rather sit in front of a television and talk about Casey Anthony did it, she didn't do it, the baby, the father. You talk about all this, but what about your life? What are you doing with the life you have? And how is that goddamn effing thing you call a life contributing to anything? Or is it pathetically wasted and thrown away? Okay, so it's a generational issue, okay? Which means a lot of lazy people got near a bunch more lazy people. A lot of my word is worth nothing got with a lot more. And they decided through convenient, lazy acclamation. This is the depth at which they operate. Through lazy acclamation. You have to look these up, won't you? ACCLAMATION. Lazy acclamation. You put this guy, and people like me, we take the hit like this guy.
I don't see any impact to the current plans.
Bingo. That's it. Do you hear him? No change. That's the way it is. We are porous. This will continue to happen. He is telling you. As somebody who, why couldn't it be him in the field? He happens to be in this role. He could be out in the middle of someplace. So you know it, I know it. They're coming. Every day they have a new group to come and challenge the way we live. And we continue to piss away the things that make us special. Pissing them away, spitting them out like excess saliva or a dead piece of gum. Just spit out completely, arrogantly, and ignorantly. It is an ignorance first. I refuse to learn. You cannot explain that the world is round to me. I know it's flat. They're just ignorant. And then the second one is the psychology. They've learned this on television. Make sure you put layers and layers of your BS in the way of your adult responsibility in society.
Like 25 to 30 that year. Last year they dropped to like 13.
Journalist told him, asked him straight away, didn't he? Hey, eliminate the threat. You're the military guy, because I've always been honest with you. Wow. Complete surrender right there. And down it goes. The numbers of crime, the numbers of violence, the resurgence of the heroin, the guy wrote a book. The fellow's going to be on Book TV this weekend. You should check him out on C-SPAN. Love that show. The 3 authors, he's one of them. He's going to talk about a study that's come out in my lifetime 5 times. 5 times society's been told the same thing. Now, you listen to what the thing says. You tell me who's an effing moron destroying lives. Okay, here we go. A father and mother divorce, separate either or. Immediately avoid in the household. The farther away it goes, what do rich people in Manhattan do? They get 2 condos on the same block, right? The kid walks 2 steps this way, your mother's house, 2 steps that way, your father's house. Father has a penthouse, the mother has a... Okay, so we know how the rich live. What do you think that means for 18, 20, 25, 27, 28,000, 32,000, 34,000? It means a mess. It is a bloody, stinking mess. You want to go with drug addiction? We can talk about it. You want to go with alcoholism? We can talk about it. You want to go with violence and the kids with Klebold and the other one at Columbine? You can talk about it. But you know what it brings. And the book now, it shows that we learned it in the beginning, early 1950s was the first published study. And each generation, each time it's revisited, there's just a little string of books They get written every 20 years because the study comes out and it's boom, it's there. People say what they say. People tell you what they tell you. They are asked direct questions. They give honest answers. They're not ashamed of being lazy. They're not ashamed of being unproductive. They're not ashamed of having minimal to zero results. Not ashamed of any of this. They live with this. They go, that's the way it goes, like some kind of children's nursery rhyme. So this has been in the mix, but it has, like the Ebola virus, exploded. It's called the Ebola virus, the equivalent of the ignorance and arrogance virus. It being stupid and then bullheaded about it at the same time. But what could possibly come out of that when you look at sum total of your activities since the abortion divorce orgy has begun? What happens to people after divorce? What happens to kids after divorce? What happens to the wife abandoned, the husband, loser, left in alcoholism, drug addiction? What becomes of these people? They somehow work it out. They go to therapy. They turn on Ricky Lake and Oprah in the old days. And today, I'm sure that Dr. Oz will give you some drug to numb you out. But the truth is, in the study tells you the truth. It's his book. You watch him on Sunday. He's a very young, vibrant student of all of this. He's got to be 35, 40 years old. It's coming out of his skin, what the book says. He's coming out of his skin. He can't believe what he found, how bad it is, how vacant this generation has become. Empty and vacant. And all the things that society needs to temper capitalism, right? You got to have capitalism, but you got to have a governor on people's appetites, right? Just everybody out there buying cocaine and heroin and throwing their babies out the window, but they were doing that 20 years ago. How many babies did we see in this country get thrown out the window from cocaine, crack? Either or. All the time. It's on the news. The guy just locked his kid in the car a couple of weeks ago, right? How many of these trials you want to? So you are doing this. This is what you're doing, but you're in such crazy denial. You want to be fatalistic. That's the answer of this generation is fatalism. This is the way. It is what it is. I love that. It is what it is. Defies everything in the human dynamic. It is what it is the sound of surrender and defeat. That is when the problem's too complicated for you, when the package is too heavy for you to lift, when the car is too wide for the garage. That's it is what it is. It's not it is what it is getting answers to tearing people's lives apart every 10 years of your life. There's another pile of litter. That's what this is? Yeah, well, the Kennedy. Let's use him. It's got to be rough. R.F. Kennedy Jr., right? You got the name. Your father got shot. Your uncle got shot. Great guys. RFK Jr. But does it make him less of a scumbag? It's his third marriage. Do you understand what these Kennedy kids, as much money as they have, they all become do you know about the one that drugged out in Palm Beach when I was there in 1983? The Kennedy kid shot himself full of drugs. Another Kennedy kid is raping somebody in medical school, and his Uncle Teddy is out drinking with him when they're drunken, raping women on the lawn, screaming women, and everybody says, well, it's the Kennedys, and went back to sleep. Okay. So what are you going to say? Oh, all this is allowable because the Kennedys, I can be a disgusting, fat, inert slob with no accomplishments and no progress at all, and everything will be great because the Kennedys slept with Marilyn Monroe. It's great. That's what it is adds up to. When you start with the it is what it is, that's surrender. And when you surrender, you surrender all of us, you idiot, you moron. Certain things have to work in order for the big thing to work. You cannot keep yanking everything out you don't like, wishing some solution into being. Let me ask you something. Ed's always talking about abortion. Was that fat-ass broad on the Supreme Court talking about it the other day? was that big mouth broad on the Supreme Court serving. Did she start a discussion the other day? I think that the men on the court are have a blind spot. Really? I think you're an old lady who might have dementia. Now what? I think you're a little old broad that should get off the goddamn courts that are slithering in there like an amoeba every day. You're not that precious. They could put somebody else on there who's healthy. She's sitting there slinking off a chair, and the other guy is married to a friend of mine, John Roberts. Childhood, neighborhood kid that we all loved. Everybody loves Janie Sullivan. You looked up to Janie Sullivan. She was a smart girl. Janie Sullivan wouldn't go for any of this. Janie Sullivan's laid down the law, baby. So anyway, this is what they go, why are you bringing up abortion? Oh, I don't know, because some a-hole on the Supreme Court who didn't like a decision because she brought it up? Because I've been hearing bitching and moaning from women about abortion my whole life? Oh, that's all. Ever since I early enough to remember, some woman's been bitching and moaning about abortion. I gotta have one. You gotta get me one. I'm poor. Get me one. I'm rich. Get me one. I'm this. Get me one. Get me. So on. Get me. I have a right. Get me. It's disgusting. Used to do this in retail. Everybody like, they're fighting over a dress. They're being catty. But this is ridiculous. Tearing families apart left and right. There are mothers and fathers all over this country on the ash heap of somebody else's arrogance. Somebody else is a douchebag, and then it acts like a douchebag, and the rest of your life is crap. If you're the father, if you're the mother, if you're the abuse victim, you're in the shelter, and the kid's with you, and these are new memories when you get out of the shelter. Next year, you could say, honey, remember last year when we were on the run from your father? Yeah, this is a better birthday. Let's go to get an ice cream at Cold Stone. It's disgusting. So this is the result in every area that there's a problem right now. You got strife in the country. Everybody's, you're wrong. You're all pulled. Why? Because you get up there and you bitch about abortion. And even at 90 effing years old, how old is that old broad? Ruth Bader Ginsburg. How old is that slink? She's fallen off a chair. She can't even sit up. She can't sit up straight. Yet she has to initiate that there's a problem, in her opinion, with men. Oh, well. Okay, so you're 85 years old, you found your vagina. Now you're going to start studying the difference between you and men? Now is when it occurs to you. And it's interesting, you arrive at the same old conclusion. Everybody's got to bow down and scrape to you and make sure they get you your abortion pills and your whatever, the 20 things. You got to have 20 ways. Got to have 20 ways to stop a pregnancy. That's how desperate you are to stop it. That's how sick and twisted anybody who gets an abortion is. Anybody. I don't care if you're raped by the whole goddamn Kovac army. I don't care if all of Eastern Europe raped you. That has nothing to do with aborting a child. Nothing. You can't look at the rapist's face. Okay, and the Eskimos can't stand the heat wave. But this is the discussion. The discussion can't go forward because I'm screaming about I want. You are going to get me. I want it. You are going to get me. That's it. That's what they spend their life doing. And you say, well, what are you accomplishing? Don't put me under pressure. Don't ask me anything. Don't indict my way of... No, we are indicting your way of life. That's the whole point. Your way of life is exactly the point. The way you're doing it. The way you're disposing of the things that the society needs to go on and succeed. You're ripping out. It's like an idiot who pulls out a load-bearing wall. Adam Carolla knows about this. Adam's got a show about contractors now on TV. You get a shoddy contracting job. He comes in with his good contractor, and they help you out. Then they track the guy down. They yell at him. They call him names. They strip his license and go on to another show. He goes into a house where they took out a load-bearing wall. And the contractor walks in and he says, you realize this house could come down right now. If there's any kind of tremor, the house would just collapse. He goes, what are you talking about? He goes, he took out a load-bearing wall. He goes, the whole second floor was dependent on the wall that you took out. And your contractor didn't know that. Well, in civilization, if you take out the pillars of honesty, reliability, marriage contract, you understand? Contract has to be understood in the beginning. Only in rare cases does this not go through. Rare cases, maybe 4 or 5%, that's it. 95% of two signatures on the same consideration, on the same set of words. Forget about what you know. You may not understand it. You signed it. It's typed up. You're in. You're in whether you like it, whether you think it's not fair. You think, well, I can't, yes. No, it's fair. It's absolutely fair. You said it. It's on the words are there. And if it doesn't happen, according to the law of reason, the only kind of a contract that's going to be worth anything, whether it's the social contract or you really, listen, we all agree not to destroy society. And by the way, we all want to keep we want to keep the roads open, we keep the stop signs up, we keep the traffic lights, we want to keep the army, we're keeping things, yes. Well, then you have to do stuff. Then you have to do stuff you don't like, and it doesn't matter if you like it. It doesn't matter what kind of person you are. It doesn't matter what day it is. Nothing matters. The only one thing that matters is did you do it or did you not do it? And if you don't do it, whether it's, we were kids, it was school. They made a big deal. You're 2 minutes late for school. They made a federal case out of it. Go ahead, take attendance in an American classroom. I dare you. First period, homeroom, anywhere in America. The first time they convene in the day, I want to see you take attendance. I want you to tell me what I hear every day from teachers and watch teachers flip out over it and how it has no effect on them because they're entitled. And they look at their parents and their parents are entitled. And that's that. Because all you need is one adult above the kid to make the kid think, well, this is right. Little boy last night on, so cute, he was on the Fox News. Did you see this with the Band-Aid? It's on the viral video. The kid's got the Band-Aid. His father's got the iPhone out. The parents are smart. This is very good. It shows the kid what an idiot he's being. Kid's like, I don't know, whatever he is. He's a little kid. But he's certainly old enough to know Band-Aid has to come off, right? So they go, we're going to take the Band-Aid off. It's a Band-Aid's coming off day. It could be so. The kid looks in the camera, starts to scream hysterically, and says, I can't live like this. He's a kid. It's a little kid. But he was sincere. You look at his face and say, oh my God, look how tortured this kid is. See, how torturous is being a modern child? Being 12, 13, 11, 8, 9, this kid, I don't know. You have to see the picture on bad. Maybe the kid was 5, maybe he was, I don't know what he was, but he was a whiny little thing. All right, maybe he was, whatever he was all arguing that at his youthful age, I mean, the kid could be 4. I don't know. He's very verbal. So, you don't know with kids. But all I can tell you is he is sincere in telling you his life is a disaster, and he's a kid. So what have you done? Just exactly what have you done? And why is it unfair to hold you accountable? Why is it unfair to come to you and say, well, you've done wrong and bad things have happened? What? Not me. Not my generation. No, it's everybody else but me, but it's not me. I said, no. We found these specific things. They came out in the study. It just so happens Ed Till and other people have been talking about this for a long time, and you've been ignoring it, and you've been saying, oh, I think everybody's different. Everybody should just live their life like how whatever. Well, very much so. Very much so, until you get to the destruction of what has actually been done. What's been done out of you, society. You like kids, the way that things have been turning the last 10, 15, 20 years? You think it's on a good trend? You think you see a good trend? Violence, families, drug addiction. Kid stuck an antenna in his head yesterday. You see this? Implantable technology. Him and his live-in girlfriend, she's like 19. They're both like 19-year-old kids. That antenna is put on their head. He said that it makes him a better painter. She says it makes her a better cook. They show them together in the loft, and they're sincere. That's how bad, that's how vacant, that's how disgustingly empty the American experience has become.
those Afghan forces. And Wolf, all of this comes at a very critical time for the United States. As you know, earlier this year, President Obama announced his transition plan for Afghanistan, his plan to leave a residual force in that country next year of roughly 10,000 U.S. service members. That will dwindle down to nothing in 2016 when the president says the U.S. will completely withdraw from Afghanistan. But all of them...
You know, they're smart. This group, I keep finding out a little bit more about them each time they're on the showcase. They got a new one today. It's called Nevermind. It's out of control. Great song. But this is a great example of what I'm saying. A very productive person, like the vocalist here. She writes and composes and does all of this kind of thing. It took her, someone in Scotland, and the two of them make all of these songs. Fox and Mew, you know, he's Sneaky Creek, I think is his name. I think it is, but it's Fox and Mew is the name of the group. Fox and Mew. You go to foxandmew.com and you can hear and enjoy them. But they sent a song called Nevermind. We're going to play that later. And then I found out that the producer is in Scotland and the vocalist is here in America. You know you got to get it. Spend so much time convincing. So coming up later, a different beat for them. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, so I want to get back to our original treatise here today. You know, the rocket at 4 o'clock in the morning was really a kick in the ass. I'm telling you, I'm like, I get it. Now, you're sending up rockets. I get it. And I don't mean Israeli rockets on the Gaza Strip. I mean good rockets that put satellite stuff so they can tap your phone if you're a bad guy. I'm for that. I'm always for that. I'm not like Rand Paul. I believe you can put an element of trust in good people. Now, look, maybe Rand Paul is the way to go. Maybe I'm going to turn out to be wrong. The whole generation of, you know, there's nothing we can't do. Maybe we should live in a world like Rand Paul sees it. Everybody's got the big limits. Everything should be limited. You know, you play to the lowest, unless everybody's on board, can't get it done. Rand Paul's way of thinking. It's like a direct democracy. They would rather vote from their couch on everything. Like they know where to put the traffic light. Like they know how many tanks we need. You know, this kind of, it's a folly. It's an absolute folly to think that you could do all that. So, but he believes in all that. So maybe accidentally, again, by accident, he's right. Maybe he's right. Maybe you got to get the expectations and the things that you say you're going to do, and you got to lower them down to the decline. You got to make the task now equal to the rate of decline in American society. I look at that rocket last night. I'm like, Jesus Christ, it's unbelievable. You know, if you really, every once in a while, something happens, you're like, well, I'm not surprised. I mean, there should be more of this.
Frequent when coalition forces were accompanying Afghan troops on the ground in joint patrols.
So it was a U.S. general that was killed. Okay. The movie Zero Dark 30 is all about this. This is going to go on because you can't, Barack Obama is from that generation, right? He thinks he can talk to bad guys. He thinks he can talk to Putin. He got caught on an open microphone saying, I'll give you a better deal after I get reelected. And boy, oh boy, how does that look and sound now? So we tried it his way, didn't we? It's awful. The results from Barack Obama's generational approach, which everybody in his generation approaches the same way. I don't really want to say who's right. I don't really know who's right here. Israel's doing one thing. The other one, I don't really want to say. I really can't say. Okay. The inability to say, that inability to see and say, the inability to get to a precise, exact point that is meaningful, whether it's at war, whether it's in the American family with abortion and divorce, until everybody's depressed, till you got a generation of fatherless, displaced, motherless, displaced, switching households in the middle of the school week as if your grades mattered. This is the one that kills me, when a parent sabotages the kid's grades. And they go, well, you know, there's a study. Say, tell me, kids in divorce and separation and God knows what, when the household breaks up, the first thing they do is try to do well in school so they can stay on the down low. They do not want their parents busting their balls while their parents are emotionally, crapped out. Yeah, it's not about like, oh, I didn't want to put more burden. It's not that I want to put more burden. My parents are assholes even when they're not divorcing. Now that they're divorcing, they're complete assholes.